What up, New England? Let me get Travis's text up there. Hey, everybody, we're speeding through the show tonight because so much happened today as far as MMA news and fighters getting work and late call-ups and replacements and Jesus. I was at work, all of a sudden my phone is tinging and it's my messenger and it's Lars and Travis, and I know when it's going off the hook like that, they are telling stories. So without any further ado, I have my partner, my media partner, my business partner, and a personal friend of mine, Travis Lizotte, who wrote a couple of articles today, short articles on what has happened. So, Travis, welcome to the show, my man, my partner, my friend for the last 6 years, bro.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Happy to be here. Happy that the news is starting to pick up because this is what we've been looking for over a year now, and it looks like it's nonstop today. We saw that Will Knight's out of his fight this weekend, and we saw Fabio Cherant pick up that spot for him at UFC 260. Huge story there. Two New England guys, one falling out due to COVID protocol with William Knight, and then Fabio jumping in after winning the LFA light heavyweight championship against Myron Dennis and taking the spot of Will Knight, making his UFC debut against, Alonzo Menafield. Heavy-handed dude, earned his ticket to the UFC through the Dana White's Contender Series. Proved to be a pretty tough opponent for anyone. Fabio stepping up. And like we posted earlier today, when that UFC phone call comes in, that's not the one that you want to reject. That's the one you want to pick up every time. And Fabio's been asking for it. He asked for it after he won that belt. He said he wanted to be in the UFC, and here he goes. He gets that opportunity against a guy who has extreme power, extreme talent, and I think it's going to be a great show as to how far Fabio has come in the past couple fights here. Going from prospect to a star, this could be his launching point. It's awesome.
Excellent. And I would imagine he's right in tip-top shape coming off that LFA championship fight, a 5-round fight, and he looked great up until the end of that fight where he took that belt. And like you said, I mean, that's a big belt to have, and for him to take this on 3 or 4 days notice, that's something to say about this kid, and that goes a long way with the UFC, and especially New England taking the place of Will Knight, another huge 205er in our New England community, man. So as far as the matchup here, what is the difference here? We know what William brings. It's pure strength and athleticism, a great control game on the ground. He's legit on his feet. He's got some good kicks, got some Muay Thai background on him, but we know what Will is. He's got gas for days, and his will just overtakes fights no matter what. So what's the difference in the matchup and this fight here for both these guys?
Well, Fabio showed in the Dennis fight for the LFA title that he wants to be a striker, even though he started out his career mainly as a grappler, snatching necks for Cage Titans and CES. But the thing is, he's done a lot of work with his boxing. And his boxing really got him the win against Myron Dennis, who was a former kickboxing champion, and he really outpointed him on the feet. So this is where it would differ is Will Knight's much more going to punch his way in, close the distance, put somebody up against the fence, drag him into deep water, and just take the life out of him. Where Cherant used to do that type of deal, but now with the striking prowess he's shown in the last couple fights, he's a guy who could hang with Menafield on the feet a little bit. So I think this fight is I don't know. It's hard to be any more explosive than Will Knight. That's for sure. It's good to see that Will has actually already rescheduled this fight. Not this particular matchup, but he will be fighting April 10th. So it's good to see that it's coming back around for Will Knight. But this is a quality matchup. This is a tough guy to make your UFC debut against, Menafield. I believe he's 9-1, 9-2, something along those lines. Either way, tough dude, heavy hands. If Fabio wants to stand and trade with him, he'll probably stand and trade. Fabio probably would have to go back to his grappling really to find his real advantage in this fight. But I think Fabio's shown that he's rounded out his game and can handle himself against just about anyone.
Excellent, my man. Well, this is what is something like this a late notice entail for Fabio? Is this a 3-fight contract automatically? Is it a 1-fight contract? What do you think is up here for him to come here? Is this kind of a trial run, and if he does well here, that's when he gets something else? What happens here as far as late notice and him jumping in there?
I mean, it's always going to be a feather in your cap to answer that phone call for the UFC. He's been on the Contender Series before. So I'm just answering this call puts him in the good graces of the UFC. The UFC knows that Alonzo is a tough opponent. They know he's going in a tough spot here. So, I mean, you can't. I mean, he's got to go out and perform, which he's very capable of doing. And I don't know. There's not a whole lot of downside that comes to this. Fabio's a young fighter. To get the experience to put him on a UFC card early in his career like this, it can't really hurt. He's going to go out there and test himself either way. If win or lose, we learn a lot about him in this fight. I really don't think you can go wrong. It's just the opportunity he's been looking for, and short notice or not, if he's ready to go, he knows better than anyone else.
Excellent, my man. Well, we got another announcement that was made right after the Fabio announcement, which I have to confess I knew a little bit about because I was at Combat Jiu-Jitsu a couple of weeks ago, and John Douma was there, and there was some, chatter that it might happen, like Bellator was coming, and he was telling me that he was speaking with them, and Tyson and all them were trying to get something going. And I thought maybe Jay Perrin would have been the guy, because Jay Perrin was talking about how that would be a great fight. So I thought maybe Jay Perrin was baiting me a little bit, thinking, since Douma told me, I thought, Jay mentioned it, maybe it was going to be them two guys. But instead, let's talk about it, Travis. Who is John Douma matched up against in April?
It's going to be the Fighting Arts Academy product / Golden Falcon product, Will Sriracha Smith. Will's 3-2, coming off a loss in Bellator, but has shown signs of greatness. Had a lot of hype coming out of his amateur career. Early 3-2, he's fought some tough fights, but gets a shot here against Douma. Douma is as tough as they come. He's been out since his loss to Jornel Lugo in Bellator way back then in 2019. So Douma's been off for a little while, but like you said, he competed against Johnny Cupcakes in Combat Jiu-Jitsu just a couple weeks ago at NEMMA, and really showed a lot against Cupcakes, somebody who's a veteran and can hold his own anywhere, and a number on Johnny, and made him tap out in that jiu-jitsu match, which I enjoyed watching quite a bit. So this is a pretty cool fight. You get two guys highly anticipated, coming off Bellator losses, really looking to secure their place maybe on the Bellator roster going forward, especially if they continue to stay at Mohegan Sun like they have been the past few shows. It's probably you could secure one of these guys a contract with the promotion, I would imagine. But tough fight for both of these guys. Neither are slouches, and they train with some of the best gyms in New England, Triforce with John Douma. And then, like I said, the Golden Falcon and FAA Nick Newell product in Will Smith. It's a cool matchup. It's so crazy to have two real stories today, but involving four different fighters coming from our region. Really cool.
Well, there's some connection here too between all these fighters. John Douma did fight Jernel.
Yep, Jornel Lugo.
Yeah, he's like 5-0 now, and he he beat John Doomer that last fight John Doomer had. And
Yep.
training partner of Mike Kimball. And, I don't know if he's trained a lot with Will, but, he's been around. I think he, dabbled with them guys, maybe, did some cross sparring with them. But, they do know John Doomer, that camp, very well. So it's a very, very, very interesting fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Douma makes any fight interesting, and especially with a little bit of fire under his ass and fire under the ass of Will Smith. I'm sure they're both coming off losses. They both need a win, and to get it for Bellator is just huge for either of them. So it's not going to be an easy fight for either of these guys, I don't believe. Will has showed grittiness in the past. He fought a real tough kid last time out, something like 5-0. It was a real tough fight.
Dynamic wrestler, and that's basically
Yeah.
how he beat Will. He held him down and didn't give Will any space to breathe. And we know Will.
Yep.
Will wants to stand there and he wants to throw hands and he wants to make a very action-packed fight. But you're going against the kid that. That's his base, and he's going to use it. And if it's going to work, he's going to use it. And it's been working for the kid. And I think he's got a contract for Bellator too. So something like that, man.
Yep.
You got to go with your game. And that's where I see John Doomer going the same way. With John Doomer's really good on his feet, but we know his jiu-jitsu game is where it's at. And I see him, trying to take Will down as soon as that first opportunity arises.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question Duma's wrestling is what he's going to go to. Whether he's ahead on the scorecards or behind on the scorecards, that's how he finishes fights on the ground, pretty much. I mean, that's what he's going to have to go to. I don't think it'll be a big surprise if we see him come out and put it on Will. Or just try to close Will's distance. That's what he needs to do. But it's a good fight for both of these guys. It's a good way. I mean, we've been saying this since the start of the pandemic that no you get right now is going to be an easy fight, and this is that case. Both of these guys are tough opponents for each other.
Excellent. Well, Travis, as we're speaking right now, I was my guest tonight besides you, and you were last minute because all this news came up. And I was like, I got to have Travis on here because you wrote the articles. And as we've been speaking about him, I've been flashing him. But Jonathan Piersma and Nick Alley, who are fighting next Thursday nights for CFFC, are my guests. But Nick, as you would know, it's last week before fucking fights. They're leaving probably Tuesday. Who knows? Next Tuesday, you know what I mean? So Nick had to cancel. I just spoke to him while you and I were speaking just now. And Nick has to cancel, and that's totally understandable. He's training hard. This is the biggest fight of his career right now. Every fight for him is the biggest fight of his career. So we're going to reschedule, and we're going to do a one-on-one. Nick and I are going to talk, and we're going to do a one-on-one recorded interview. So, shout out to him. He feels bad, but, Nick and I, and we've been together for years and years. He knows it, But, Travis, I'm going to keep you on longer. And you're a godsend, man. I called you up and messaged you a half hour before the show for a reason, because things happen like this on a live broadcast, and you are my pot of gold tonight, brother. So let's keep going, man. So let's keep going with CFFC, and hopefully Jonathan, we have Jonathan, but if not, Jonathan was supposed to call around 9:30. So Travis, you might have to. I don't know if you have to work. I might get fucking Lars on here. He's probably putting his kids to sleep. I have no idea. But Travis, we're gonna talk until the cows come home. So anyway, Travis, next Thursday night, two of our favorite fighters are fighting. We have Nick Alley, who is making his first trip to the CFFC cage, and we also have John Piersma, who is managed by Full Contact Management, who made his debut for the organization back in December, came away with a first round finish off a tough dude making his pro debut. Now John is back fighting. I'm not sure if this is this kid's second pro fight or what, but let's talk about a little third pro fight. So let's talk a little bit about this and this matchup with Jonathan and what's going on here next week.
Yeah, this is another tough guy for John, but Lars and I talked about this when we signed John. We think he's got a lot of potential in the 170-pound weight class. So we're not scared about guys with tough records, because Tyler Bunting was 7-1 as an amateur, and John made quick work of him with that mounted guillotine. So it's just the next step. Tommy actually comes with a fair amount of hype. He's fought 4 times for CFFC in the past, including 2 fights for his amateur career. He also fought at when CES was in Philly. He fought on that card as an amateur and won a fight there as well. But Tommy is a striker. Essentially, he's a long 6'1" welterweight. He eventually plans on possibly moving down from welterweight, but this isn't the fight he's going to get to do that at. John's a big welterweight. We know that. John will probably have some strength advantage in this fight, which he has in most fights because of his grappling background and his purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Usually takes him pretty far, as we've seen in the past. So Tommy's one of those guys. All the fights that I've seen from him online, he comes out spinning from the opening bell, likes to throw some flashy strikes, likes to establish his jab, kicks a lot with his front leg. So it's just going to be one of those deals where John has to put him on his back foot. He's got to get Tommy moving in the wrong direction, put him on his back, put his back to the cage, take him down, and advance through his guard and do some damage with some strikes. He's just got to touch him, be first, and I think the finish will establish itself from there.
Yeah, watching this kid, watching John's opponent here, Tommy, he's very athletic, man. Very athletic, like super athletic, this kid. But looking at these guys, and not that means a hell of a lot well, maybe it does, but I think John's going to be the bigger dude in here in this fight. I mean, that guy's very athletic, so I'm sure he doesn't cut much weight to get to where he has, and it ain't like John's killing himself to get there too. But as we know, John is a big welterweight once he gets in that cage, after getting his fluids and stuff back in him. But if I would imagine this fight, if it stays on its feet, that's where the kid's going to have his advantage maybe over John. Not that John's striking isn't there, but we know John is much better and much more comfortable when he has the control and he's ready to land elbows or do damage on the ground to you.
Yeah, from Tommy's fights, I've seen a lot of guys have been able to take him down in the past. He's never fought a wrestler like John, which gives me a lot of confidence that John's going to have no trouble taking him down. On the feet, like you said, that's probably not John's clear path to victory, is to fight him on the feet. But I've noticed him fighting other wrestlers. He carries a low guard in his stand-up that makes him susceptible to overhand return shots on his combinations. There's things that Tommy does that are pretty elementary. Hey man, it's gonna be the best fighter. Like, I'm just saying, I just honestly, we just broke this fight down. I've been looking at it for the past week and a half.
Here's the thing.
I've been looking at a lot of tape on Tommy, even though there's not a whole lot out there.
Well, I mean, you are part manager of John, so of course you're gonna scout the hell out of this kid. And it just shows you how passionate, how good you're doing to take care and make sure your fighters have the best fights possible out there, man. John's second fight, man, coming off that last fight, even though it's his only second pro fight, the kid's got like huge potential as far as in the eyes of CFFC at this point, and there's room for him in the organization to move up.
Oh yeah, CFFC loves him at this point, and John's one of those guys that he wanted to get right back in it. He didn't care how long the fight camp was; he just wanted to stay busy. He had some jiu-jitsu match lined up. That's not going to end up happening now, but he stays busy. He's not one of those guys that fights for his next opponent or trains for his next opponent. He's just the kind of guy who just wants to keep getting in there, and that'll go a long way with CFFC, especially if he starts taking out some of these bigger names. I mean, I know Tommy has some following as well, and I had heard his name in the past, so it's just one of those deals where I don't think Jonathan's name is as big as Tommy's maybe right now, but John Piersma is the guy to watch out for in this fight, in my opinion.
Excellent.
And in many fights to come. He's a beast.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be coming on. We had a little mix up, so he's supposed to be coming on 9:25 or so. We're gonna hang out at Travis as long as possible. If he cancels, it's fine. I'm gonna get a one-on-one with him also. Travis, we got big news today, and that's a show in itself what we're talking about. But Travis, there's more to the story at CFFC 94. We have Nick Alley, who is making his first trip to their cage, coming off a huge win against John Gotti III back in October when CES got their first fight back after the delay, I want to call it. So, Travis, I'm going to throw that poster up, and let's talk about Nick Alley and this opportunity and him fighting and the dude he's fighting, what you know.
I'll be honest with you. I've been so into this John Piersma fight that I don't know much about his opponent, but I do know quite a bit about Mr. Alley himself. And we said this last time we talked about Nick Alley when he fought John Gotti. And you said it earlier. Every fight is going to be the biggest fight of his career, especially after beating Gotti. His stock rose, and he's now. I mean, he was always a name. He was always a prospect. But the John Gotti fight really, sealed the deal for him and put him in a spot that he may not be if he didn't get the opportunity to beat John Gotti by decision at CES. That's just the cut and dry of it. And to get this opportunity, his second straight appearance on UFC Fight Pass, it's a huge thing for him. He has another chance to. I'm sure this kid is one of their prospects. I did look up a little bit about him before. Yeah. And I've heard his name before. I believe he's a wrestler.
He's got a ton of fights with them. He's coming off a loss, but I think he had 4 or 5 or maybe 6 fights with them as a pro. I don't know if he was with them as an amateur ranks, but as a pro, he gets to a lot of decisions. His last 2 fights, I think they were finishes. He had one finish, and he was I think he was finished in the first round or so. His last fight, I could be wrong on that, but you would think the run he had and the guy he was facing that last fight, that could have been like a kind of maybe a title shot or a number 1 contender kind of fight, since he's fought so many times for CFFC.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I don't remember. I wish I had it in front of me, and for some reason, I don't know why, a name rings a bell for me as Levi Moles, but I might be wrong. It was one of those guys that came from CFFC that was like a top contender that he ended up losing to. This guy is expected to. I bet Nick knows he's going into the same type of fight as he was with Gotti. This is probably the promotions guy. Nick is probably supposed to go in there and just further this guy's career, but Nick's shown in the past that's not what he does. This guy might want to wrestle. Nick is great up from his back with submissions. If this guy wants to strike with Nick's long on the feet. He's got a nice stiff jab and a good striking base. So I mean, Nick is capable of taking it wherever it needs to go and doing what it needs to do to come out with a victory. I mean, I'll be pulling for him. There's no question. And Lars did say in the live here that Gotti has booked himself a fight as well for CES in Florida. I saw that earlier today.
And as you do speak about
CES in
Gotti,
Orlando, Florida.
As you speak about Gotti, which is so ironic and coincidental, I have, when he fought for CES, I think the second time in Twin Rivers, I do have the CES pink hat with John Gotti Jr. or second, John Gotti the second's signature on there. I will be giving this away at some time. I haven't figured out when, but at some point, this is gone. So, and since he's fighting, the name's coming back. Maybe I'll give it away sooner than later. So, Travis, couple more things, buddy. Lars, if you're listening, which you are because you're taking notes, you're saying Travis's fucking feed sucks or whatever, but it actually looks good right now, Travis. You only a hiccup maybe twice, but that may be on my end. I'll take it this time. Travis is me, so fuck you, Lars. So anyway, wait.
It was short notice.
Yeah, exactly. You're performing very fucking well, man. So anyway, Lars, you didn't get my message, which I want you to put the links to Travis's articles today, as far as the one on Fabio and his late notice to the UFC, and the John Douma and Will Smith articles. Put them links on the feed. Also, put Jonathan Piersmer's t-shirt link on this feed. So Travis can't do it because he's on me, but Lars, get to work, throw it out on his feed, because we still have things to talk about. And, Jonathan should be calling in about 10 minutes or so. But Travis, we have more to talk about for CFFC 94. Travis, this is a big day for New England MMA because not much content. We've had to dig it and dig it up. And thank God our fighters are getting fights other than in New England. I mean, thank God we have jiu-jitsu going on in here and this, this jiu-jitsu combat and all that other stuff we can cover and it's great. But you, me, and Lars are taking a road trip. Let's not say who is our guest driver with us. We can mention that in a couple of days or whatever, make an announcement of what's going on. But anyway, you, me, and Lars are taking a trip. And where are we going, Travis? Because I do have a poster. So announce it right now, buddy.
Yeah, destination, the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for CFFC 94 Thursday, April 1st. We will be there. We bought a table last night. It was kind of a unique situation for us. We had talked about going in the past, and then tickets dried out. And they ended up opening up a couple extra tables. We hopped on it last night. You had to buy tables of 4. So, yes, we will have a guest, which we will announce at a later date. But we are going to CFFC 94. This will be the first time any of us have met our client, John Piersma, in person. And we intend to do so walking out with a 2-0 record for CFFC. And then we're just going to happen to be there for our good buddy Nick Alley's fight. It just works out. It was one of those situations where I could take the time off from work. Everyone was kind of in a cool situation where they could drop what they were doing and for me and Lars, it's about a 6-hour road trip to Philadelphia. We will pick up our other guest and Mr. Cranston himself, Steve Domenico, on the way.
Here's something cool because you're going to pick me up here. But I just want to give a hint about one of our guests. I know one of our road trip friends. He's looking to make his pro debut. And we're bringing him down there not only to hang out and watch some great fights and support some New England fighters and also, Jonathan, who he might have some coincidental connections with. But we're going to shop his name around at the CFFC cage about him making his pro debut. So we take care of our people and we want them to be, we want to have fun. So we got a dude that's coming with us and we're going to have a good time. We're going to shop all our fighters around. But I am excited. I was going to ask you, Travis, that's what I was going to say. We can always come into the Room podcast and do like a 25-minute live podcast before we hit the road officially. Because, my podcast...
Yeah, absolutely.
My podcast office is only 15 minutes down the road from where you guys are going to be picking me up. So what I say is meet me at the Room podcast. We'll podcast when you get here, and then we're fucking off to Philly, baby, for CFFC 94. How's that sound?
It sounds awesome, and I think we got to keep the cameras rolling for most of the trip because that's going to be something we're going to want to document. There's no question about it. Meeting up with some people in Philly, getting our name out there. For me, you, and Lars, our first live action in over a year since we went to premiere. As far as full fights go, I mean, you went to NEMMA, but I'm just anxious to sit there and watch some fights and watch John Piersma go 2-0 and watch Nick Alley shock the world once again at a promotion that I've never attended before in a city I've never been to. I mean, it's kind of an impromptu thing, but that's sometimes when you have the most fun, when you just go grab the bull by the horns, I guess.
Excellent, my man. Well, I just messaged Jonathan. I keep calling him Jonathan. Well, it's his name, but John sounds so much like a 2-0 fucking beast. So John is, he's going to call, and he's just finishing up practice here right now. So another thing I want to talk about before, we get Jonathan and other, what am I saying? Let me know. All right, let me know. We have, even though it's next week, it's when we're leaving. April 2nd, we have another friend of ours who is making their pro debut for Valor Fighting Challenge. Now, Let's talk a little bit about this. I did have him on my podcast last week, and we have been following this kid since, maybe his second amateur fight. And, he had his up and downs, but, man, 10 fights as amateur, and now he's making his pro debut against, a dude that's going to bring it to him, man. Let's talk about our Aaron Short Fuse Hughes making his pro debut next week at 155.
No, I mean, I think this is awesome. The 155 thing, when I first heard it, I was a little thrown off. But I'm pretty sure his fight against Xavier Cardona at Pins in Cage Titans was at a higher weight or whatever, and that didn't seem to bother Aaron at all. I don't know. Aaron's just that good guy. You want to root for him. He's constantly working. He grinds with some of the best teammates at Regiment Training Center. He's always in the gym. He's always looking to get better, always looking to promote himself. So it's awesome to see a guy like this who had a 500 or under record as an amateur make his pro debut in a time like this. It's not an easy thing to do. And of course, he's training with good people over there at Regiment, and he's marketed himself in the way that he's got, it's the squeaky wheel who gets the grease, and Aaron's been clamoring for his pro debut. This is actually the second time he's booked for his pro debut, and we had covered it before. He was supposed to make his pro debut, I think, last May at NEF against Carl Langston, and that didn't happen due to COVID, but he kept on it. He kept training, and it's good on him, man. I'm happy he's making his pro debut. And I really hope he comes. He's an 0-2 dude. Looks pretty tough. I think he does a lot of jiu-jitsu. It's going to be a fun one. Aaron will probably, he's going to probably want to strike with him. This guy's probably going to want to take it to the ground. I'm interested to see how it goes, and I really hope Aaron can go down there and represent and start his pro career off 1-0, and get rid of that under 500 record from his amateur career, and it's only up from there.
Excellent. Well, before I play a clip of Aaron real quick, and I think John is telling me he's just about ready, I'm going to play a clip from Aaron, but, Aaron's been training and nonstop speaking with him. He's been waiting for this day. We know he's been waiting for this day. He's training with a bunch of killers. He's been going to Lausanne's. I mean, of course, he's with Mitch Raposo. He's with Jorgen De Castro, Pat McCrone, and he's with, a bunch of jiu-jitsu killers there. So this kid, Kelts, of course, our man Kelts there, and all, so many others. And, he's got so many kids. This kid is ready to explode. So we're going to play a little clip of who he explains who he's fighting, and, who he's been training with, getting ready for this fight. But I just want to throw that up there. And then I'll see if Jonathan's ready, and then I'll say bye to you, all right, Travis? So hold on. And, Travis, you can't talk through
Sounds good.
You can't talk through this because I think they can hear you, all right? Who's the dude you're fighting now? You must be studying him at this point and know a lot about him.
Yep. I've watched quite a bit of his film. His name is Tyler Edwards. He was a 6-1 amateur. He's 0-2 as a pro, but he's a lot better than his record looks. He's definitely fought some tough guys. He was an amateur champ out in Tennessee, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting in there and laying it all out on the line, man.
So let's talk a little bit about COVID and how you stayed busy. And I know you were, I mean, you guys had your little clique and you guys were training here and there, but who are you staying steady with and really keeping you in shape through these dark times?
Honestly, I mean, there might have been like 1 week, maybe 2 weeks where we didn't really train. But other than that, I mean, our gym's been pretty consistent the whole time. Like the fight team, like me and Mitch Raposo, Pat McCrohan, Jorgen, Matty Franco, like all those guys. So we've been pretty much consistently training like nonstop. Like I've been training 6 days a week for the last year, so I haven't really had a day off.
So, Travis, man. So that was all. I mean, as you know, not only has Aaron fought, grown as a fighter and just personality, the kid's demeanor and just the calmness and just that levelness of him now. Speaking with him, he's calmer and everything. It just seems like he gets it now and he got over. Things click, start to click. And everything in your career, jiu-jitsu, striking, it all starts to come together. But the mental game, man, that's a whole nother battle. That's another whole game and practicing and the reps and all that. I think the kid is finally, he's got it clicking. He's under the great coaches, great, just all around great family behind him, taking care of him. He's got a great job. Doing things, and he's just hungry, man. This is his life, training and wanting to get to the next level. Man, kudos to this kid, man. And he's fighting, a dude that's been in there a couple of times, an amateur champion, a kid that, is 0-2 as a pro. But like we talked about with Aaron, his record wasn't that great as an amateur, but he fought some killers, and that boosted him to make this pro debut. And records really don't tell the whole picture of your fights and how you performed in there, man. So, we don't know what this kid has to offer to Aaron, but we know what Aaron has to offer, and it's game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think just as noteworthy of him training with some of these guys is rubbing off on him as a fighter. It's also rubbing off on him in the mental aspect, like you said. A lot of these guys have been around a while. You got Chris Mutino, who's got 12 fights as a pro. He just moved to Regiment, and it's that stable of guys that they have there. Smart MMA fighters. That's going to rub off on you. And like you said, Aaron has definitely matured, both as an athlete and just as a person overall. Like you said, he's promoting himself, and he's just promoting that blue collar type deal where he straps up his pads, he straps up his gloves, and goes and works with some of the best around, and that's the only way to get any better around here. So yeah, definitely kudos to him, man. I hope he can get the win and start off on the right foot in his pro career. There's no question about it. I'm rooting for him.
Excellent. Last thing I want to talk to you about, I got Jonathan ready to go. But last thing I want to talk to you about, I did flash the poster last week, but there was an announcement, I think it was after Wednesday. I flashed it last Wednesday. So I think the announcement was Tuesday that CES, and we did speak about John Gotti is on the April 30th card. But a couple of minutes, Travis, CES, April 30th in Florida. Let's talk a couple of minutes about that. And, names have been thrown out there, matchups, but there's still more to come, I would imagine. What are you thinking about this card and the excitement of CES getting back in the game?
Well, it's definitely exciting for me. So the fights I'm going to immediately pick out are the ones that have New England names tied to them. Obviously, Gotti's fought in New England his entire career. This will be his first fight in Florida, obviously under CES. So it's the same promotion, just different venue. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. The guy he's fighting is 3-2. His name escapes me off the top of my head right now. So Gotti's 5-1, I believe, is 5-1 against 3-2. This should be a good one for Gotti to get back in the win column, get to where he needs to be, get over that loss to Nick Alley, and finally, strap another couple wins together. Another guy is going to be Dennis Paiva. He's on the card as well, fighting a 9-6 guy from down there. Again, I don't know much about the opponents at this time because I've been concentrating on the CFFC 94, but I've definitely taken a look at the card, that's for sure. Then another big one for us is going to be Gary Boletto is back on the card, and I'm happy to see Gary Boletto get back in there. He suffered a couple tough losses, tough knockout here and there, but Gary's one of those guys you always root for. Got his own gym. Everyone knows who his dad is, Gary Tiger Boletto, what they do for their community and stuff. Good people, always fun to see those people around CES. So I'm happy to see Gary back in the CES cage down there. That's a good thing. There's a couple matchups between guys that have never fought.
There's one more name I want to throw out there.
Yuri.
Yuri. Yeah, say his last name because I'll butcher it.
Yes, it's Yuri Panfroth. He's Andrew
Canadrelli.
He's one of his guys. I believe he's making his pro debut middleweight, or one of his first fights. I don't know. He's highly anticipated. He's a beast,
a monster, a Russian monster, and this kid is such a humble and nice guy. He is the reality fighting, I do believe, middleweight or light. I think a middleweight amateur champion. And I think he's also got 2 more belts in like a New York promotion, and I think he's probably fought in Russia overseas as far as Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu. This kid has fought everywhere as an amateur. Like really, I mean, he might have fought, like an organization like Valor or something that has Amis. That's a pretty decent organization. He's fought for him, and he's beat up and destroyed people in that cage.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot about him coming up, and the middleweight is not a huge division for New England. So when you have a guy on the outskirts, it's very easily like he could come out here and knock this guy out at CES and put himself right in the picture as one of the top middleweights in New England right off the bat with his first pro win, because there's not a lot of guys at 85 out here. But yeah, he's definitely one to watch, and I think he's against a guy who's got a couple fights, but maybe an upside down record, but get him on Fight Pass, get him in front of the world, and I think he's going to be a pretty big thing for us.
Excellent. Well, Travis, I got to let you go because Jonathan is right basically on time. Actually, he was ready like 10 minutes ago, but we did schedule at 9:30. Travis, a couple of things I just want to tell you and say thank you fucking so much. I would have had to talk here for 45 minutes. I probably would have had a strip. I probably would have had to like fucking put like, I have spaghetti spray. I would have had to do something on the show to keep it going. What I would have done was reschedule Jonathan for a one-on-one because, and I would have just talked about news. But you saved the show, Travis. And another thing I want to say to you is what you're doing is incredible for full contact management with, Jonathan's a big name, and I'm sure people want to represent him in his town and everything as far as sponsors to get his name out there and support him because he's a big to do. But they wouldn't be able to do that without you and guiding them along and you reaching out to whoever is interested in helping this kid along. So kudos to you and Lars for getting the matchup and scouting and, talking to all these promotions and getting these fighters active. But you for doing the work in the back that no one really knows what the fuck goes on in here. So, Travis, 2 minutes and I got to get you the fuck out of here. But talk about, what it takes and what you've been doing in the back as far as helping fighters along in this management company.
Well, like you said, John's becoming a big name, so eventually he's just going to sell himself. This is the start of. we started campaigning for some sponsors to help finish up with some final costs of fight camp, some medicals and things like that. We wanted to get tied up. We started out probably 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and since then we've attracted 8 or 9 sponsors, and it's been really good. Everyone in the community that knows John knows that he's a good person and he's got all the potential in the world. So putting connecting the dots between those two and just making sure we fulfill our requirements as a management company and help John get where he needs to be, help him achieve his dreams. And we can't do it without these sponsors. So big ups to them. I don't have the list in front of me. I know there's 8 or 9 of them now that have called up and on short notice and sponsored this thing and really allowed John to not worry about the final expenses, if you will, and just worry about blasting this guy, come Thursday night and being the best fighter he can be with the best crew backing him. It was one thing John didn't really have sponsors when he came out of the amateur level. So seeing all these people reach out and looking to sponsor him just goes to show what kind of person he is. And that a lot of people think the same way we do, that he's one of the next big things. John's going to sell himself. Like I said, I connect the dots. I do a few things behind the scenes, but John's really selling himself, and his career trajectory is going to keep doing that for him.
Awesome. I love you, my man. As you were talking, I did put up the picture of John's shirts, his walkout shirts that are up for sale on our website. Lars designed the shirt, but in the beginning it was kind of, we all threw our ideas, but the final product is all Lars. Lars worked his ass off on this logo for John, and just making it perfect. I think it looks fucking fabulous. I put it up, but I'll talk to John more about it. And we all got them. We're going to be wearing them at the show next Thursday night. So Travis, again, thank you so fucking much, my good friend and partner, man, for saving me tonight. And dude, I can't wait to hit the road with you. And you guys, dude, I've had this room for the last 3 years or so. This will be the first time, and I've only known Lars maybe a year, 16 months or so. I've known you 6 or so. This is the first time you're gonna see me see the Room podcast, man. We're gonna have a ball next fucking Wednesday when you guys pick me up, man. Oh, when is it? Thursday. Thursday. You're gonna pick me up Thursday.
Thursday, whatever. Plans could change on the drop of a hat, but we're going to Philly.
All right, my man. I gotta let you go because I gotta get the kid on, talk about fighting, and get the fuck out of here. I gotta work in the morning.
Absolutely.
All right, my man.
John's the star. Let him have it.
All right, love you.